Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are diving into the exciting world of Drizzle ORM. If you are a developer and looking for a lightweight, performant and best TypeScript support ORM for your application, you have come to the right place. So what is Drizzle ORM? Drizzle ORM is a TypeScript ORM for SQL database designed with maximum type safety in mind. Okay. So it comes with a Drizzle kit, which is a CLI tool that will help you to generate automatic SQL migration. This is similar like a Prisma migration tool. So we'll do a full series on Drizzle, and in today's part, we are going to see how you can set up a simple project with TypeScript and Drizzle ORM, as well as create the database connection, define a schema, and also write some simple query. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, I want to introduce you with Drizzle ORM documentation. If you go to orm.drizzle.team, you will find this beautiful landing page. After that, if you click on documentation, it will give you two options here. One is Drizzle ORM, one is Drizzle Kit. So first we will start with the Drizzle ORM, then we will set up the Drizzle Kit. Okay, so we have this quick start option here. So I'm going to use npm. So you can use npm as well as yarn. Okay. So for that, so I have opened the empty folder here. I don't have anything except this readme file. So here I will install everything and do all the things. Okay. So first of all, let me initialize this folder as a node project. So for that we can do npm init minus y or -y. So if you do that, so it will just create a empty project. So we have this package.json. Now we need to install all the dependency. First of all, and you will get all the source code and everything in the GitHub repo. I'll put the link in my video's description. Okay. So after that, if you see for the set of the TypeScript project, this is the instruction I have already written. So we have done this npm init minus y, and then we will do npm I. We will install some dev dependency. So that's why minus d. And then we will install TypeScript, ts node, then all the types for node, and you can use nodemon. For now, let's install also nodemon, but I don't think we will need nodemon for now, but we will need this thing in future. Okay, so let's install this. And after that, we will install the Drizzle ORM. Okay, so after setting up this thing, so if you go to their doc, so from now we can start from here. And I'm going to use Drizzle with MySQL. So here in the quick start, we have this Postgres. So I need to find the documentation for MySQL. Okay, so for that, if you click on this installation and database connection, then MySQL, and you can use planetscale as well as MySQL 2. I'm going to use MySQL 2. Okay, and there we will find the documentation for MySQL. Okay, so let's install this two, Drizzle ORM and MySQL 2. They will be normal dependency, not dev dependency. So npm I, Drizzle ORM and MySQL 2. Okay. After that, install the Drizzle kit or do the migration and everything. Okay. So it's also written here. So npm I -d Drizzle kit, enter. So we have installed that. Now if you check our package.json, so we have two dependencies, Drizzle ORM and MySQL 2, and we have some dev dependencies like types, nodejs types, Drizzle kit, nodemon, ts node, and TypeScript. Okay. So currently I'm using, you can see Drizzle kit version is 0.18.0 and the Drizzle ORM version is 0.26.1. So eventually this will update it, and when you will see this video, maybe in the version is updated. So try to use the latest version, and in this series we'll always try to give the update about Drizzle ORM and Drizzle kit. So hopefully we'll get new videos when there will be new updates. Okay, so yeah. After that, we'll initialize our project as a TypeScript project. So for that, we can do npx tsc -init. Okay, so I have also written it over here. So if you do this, it will create a tsconfig file for you, as you can see. and I will just copy some TS configuration from my another project from the README. We go to this link. So if you go to this TS config, we'll just copy this and use it here. You can customize based on your need, but this is fine for now. And we will customize based on our need later if needed. Okay. So after that, we will just create a folder called source where all the code will be there. Okay. And we'll create another folder called .drizzle where all the migration will be there. Okay. So now after that, if you see, so this steps is done. This steps is also done. This is the folder structure we are doing now, like a source. Then inside source, we will have a DB folder where we will have all the schema and everything related to database. And we will have one file called app.ts where we will write some of our query to test that everything is working fine. Okay. So if you go to the documentation again, so we have two type of connection, and actually we are going to use MySQL too. So MySQL to support client connection as well as pool connection, so we can use both. So let's define our db.ts where we will create the connection with the database. Okay. For that, we will import Drizzle from Drizzle ORM, import something from Drizzle ORM slash. If you type my, you will get two options. Like for MySQL, we have like MySQL core and MySQL 2. So we are going to use MySQL 2 for import the Drizzle, but we have MySQL core in other place. I'll show you where you need to use that thing. Okay. So this is the thing. After that, copy the whole thing and customize based on our need. Is it full connection? We'll just define URI, and here we will put the database URL. Okay. And here we will put this connection. Let's say pool, and export this DB so that we can use it while we need to query. In this URI, we need to put the connection string. Okay. So we'll put a connection string like we're using MySQL. So MySQL, then this is the username. I'm my local MySQL setup. This is the username. This is the password. And then this is localhost. I'm where I is hosted, and this is the port, and this is the database name. Okay. So I have opened this database here in table plus. Okay. So this is our connection ready. After that, we can actually define our schemas. So for defining the schema, we can actually create a folder called schema. Here we will create a simple, for now, a user table. So we can call it user.schema.ts. Okay. And let me go to the documentation again to see how we can define a schema. So this is the connection. So if you go to this schema declaration here, so and here you can see, so they have given some instruction like how you should define the schema. If you only have one file, then you can just create one schema.ts file. If you have multiple files, that time you can just create a folder and create this type of multiple schema on that. Okay. So yeah, so now if you go to MySQL, in here schema declaration, you can see some example of schema declaration. Okay. In our case, we will define a schema called users, and this will have an ID, name, email, password, role, and created this information. Okay. So let's do that. So, and whenever we define a schema, you always need to export it from here. Okay. So export, we will call it const user schema, and then when you input something from Drizzle ORM, so Drizzle ORM slash my, and this time we will use MySQL core. Okay. So for creating the connection, we are using MySQL 2 from then taking the Drizzle from there, and for defining our schema, we will use MySQL core. Okay. And here we will type MySQL table, so you will get it, and here it will be a function, and after that this MySQL table will take like 2 to 3 arguments. First one will be the name. Okay. So let's say we'll give it a name called users. Fine. After that, the second parameter would be the object. Okay, where we will define the columns. So let's say first column would be ID, and then this will be a int, and this will be imported from Drizzle ORM MySQL core. Okay, and you will give it a name, ID, and then this will be, and if you press dot, it will actually give you auto suggestion like what are the things are available. Okay, so as well you can see like it will be auto incremented. Fine, this will be function, and then if you press dot again, it will give you like primary key. Do you want to make it primary key or not? Yes, we want to make it primary key. So this is how we'll do it. So auto increment and primary key. After that, so let's do for name. So int, not int, this time we will have barker. Okay, and barker will be also imported from MySQL core, Drizzle ORM MySQL core, and then we'll give it a alias or name of the column, and then we need to pass the length. So for now we can say 100 or 255, whatever you like. And after that we will say this is non-nullable. Okay, fine. After that, okay, so let's duplicate this thing 2 times. First of all, we have email, then we have password, and let's say this is 255. Email is 100 is fine. Okay, so after this is fine. After that, what we have, the role and the created at. So the role will be an enum. Okay, so for that we'll import MySQL enum from here, and first would be role, the name, and then an array with all the option, like let's say admin or user. Okay, and this will be again non-nullable, and we can pass the default as, you can see we got auto suggestion between this admin or user. Okay, so the by default it will be user. Okay, so this is how actually we will define the enum, and after that we have created at, and this will be a timestamp. We can also use date time. We'll see in later in this series how we can use date time and everything. For now we are just creating a simple schema. Okay, so timestamp, and this timestamp would be like created at, and main normal convention is use snake case. So for defining the property of the object, we are using property of the table or schema, whatever you can say, we are using camel case, but for the database column name we are using snake case here. Okay, so this timestamp, then we can say default now, as you can see, and this will be also non-nullable. Okay, so by default all the fields are nullable. You just need to always mention non-nullable. Okay, so there's the thing. We can also do the updated at as well. Updated at and default would be now, and dot update on update now. So on update now, what this will do, so whenever you will change some of the property from this table, it will automatically set that time on this on updated at column. Okay, so our schema is ready. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to actually apply this schema in our database. Okay, so currently if you see here, we don't have any tables in our database. Okay, so for that we need, what you need to do, we need to use Drizzle kit. Okay, so we already installed Drizzle kit here. So first of all we will generate a migration, and then we will apply that migration to our database here. Okay, for that let's go to documentation, see where this is available. So click on Drizzle kit, and if you click on quick start, then you can see yeah, so we need to create a drizzle.config.ts file or drizzle.config.json file. So this config, if you click on configuration, you will get the more details here, but in the quick start you will get a overview here. Okay, here, so let's create this file. So we'll call it the root, and you need to create it in the root of the project, so where the access.json is available, drizzle.config.ts. so you can create a JSON file also. And here we will import config from Drizzle kit. This is a type. Okay, so as you can see, and then we will export default the schema where our schema is available and where will be all the things will be, all the migration will be available. Okay. Okay, so our schema is available in source, then db, then schema folder. So it will be source, then db, then not schema.ts file, it's schema folder. So we'll just keep the folder name here. Okay. And all the migration will be available inside our this root, then .drizzle slash we'll put in a migration folder, migrations folder. Okay. So now our configuration file is ready. Now in the package.json file, we need to add this script to generate a new migration. Okay. So let's go to package.json, set script. We will call it db migrate. Instead of migration, let's call it generate. And here result kit generate colon MySQL, because we are using MySQL. And here you can see the PG. So whenever we will use Postgres, we will call it PG here. For MySQL, we will call it MySQL here. This is the dialect actually, the dialect name. Okay, so our script is ready. Now let's run the script. I'm using pnpm, so I will run pnpm db colon generate. If you are using npm, then you will run npm run db colon generate. Okay, so if you do this, so it will actually tell you like that reading the schema file from here, and then it's created this 000 something .sql, this migration inside here, this drizzle / migration, then this, and you can see the SQL of that TypeScript definition. So the user's table, ID, name, email, and everything what we have defined there, it's available. Okay. So now this is how actually you will generate the migration. Whenever you do some changes in migration file as not migration file, in the schema file, as well as if you create a new schema, always you need to generate the migration using this command. Okay, so all the migration will be available in this migration folder. And now we need to apply this migration inside this table. Till now we don't have any table in our actual database. Okay, so for that we'll create a file inside this .drizzle folder. Okay, you can create it wherever you want, but I would like to create here, and we will call it migrator.ts. So we are calling it migrator.ts file, and here we will import something from drizzle kit slash not drizzle kit, I guess drizzle ORM slash migrator mysql2 slash migrator. Yeah. So we need to import something from drizzle ORM slash mysql2 and then the migrator. Okay. And here it will be migrate.com. This is the function we need. And how I know about this thing from the documentation, let me show you where this is available. So if you see, scroll down. Yeah. So in the quick start, if you scroll down, so this is the configuration thing, what we have done. And after that, we added the script, and then we have to, we got our migration, you can see, and then we actually need to migrate to the database. So for that, this is the thing we have, like we imported this migrate function. Okay, so they are importing from Postgres and JS, then migrator. We are importing from MySQL2, then migrator. Okay, after that, I need to call this function as this, like this. So we'll call it migrate, and then we need to pass a database connection here. So for that, let's create this simple connection here. So db connection equal MySQL2. So let's import it. Promise. But create connection. Here we will pass the same URI here. So for now, I'm actually not putting the URL of the database, but later we can create env file and use that. Okay, and we'll pass this db connection here. And after that, we need to pass some configuration. So we have one is migration folders. Okay, so that means this migration folders where this is available. Okay, so for that we can use path module from nodejs. Call it path.resolve. This will resolve will give you the root of the project, and then we'll go to .drizzle, comma inside migrations folder. Okay, we're getting some error. Okay, so mainly here we don't need to pass the DB connection. We actually need to pass the DB instance as which we have created over here. And here actually we are creating the pool. This DB instance will mainly used for the querying stuff from the database. We can actually create another DB instance here, and that we can just use for the migration. Okay, so for that let's just create function here. So let's call it do migrate, and call the function here do migrate, and let's make this function as async so that we can call await, call try and catch. Okay, and cut everything, paste inside try, and here we can call it await because we are using promise from MySQL 2. So this is a DB connection, and then we will create a DB instance for migrator. So we can call it DB migrator, and we can call the drizzle. So we need to import this drizzle. So let's import it. Import something from Drizzle ORM / MySQL2 drizzle. So we imported the drizzle, and here we will pass the DB connection. Okay. Now after that, this DB migrator will go to here. Okay. So and we can call await here as well because migrate is going to return you promise. Okay. And in else here we can console log if there is any error. We can call it migration error. We can call it E. We can also print a console log here that migration is done, and then we can do process.exit 0 so that the terminal will close automatically. Same for in the catch block. Okay, so now our migration is done. So if you want to run this migration, so we need to create a script in our package.json file. Okay, for that let's go to package.json and create another script called db.deploy, let's say. So if you are familiar with Prisma, so Prisma has a command called Prisma migrate deploy. So this will be similar like that. Like we'll take all the migration from here in this migration folder and we'll apply to our database. So here we will use ts node to run our migrator file. Okay, so ts node -- files, then .drizzle / migrator.ts. So this command will run this migrator file. Now let's run this command. I will use pnpm. You can use npm also. So pnpm db::deploy. So if you do that, so you can see we got migration done. And now if you go to our table class and refresh, you'll see we got our user table and drizzle migration table. Okay, so and in the user table we have ID, name, email, like all the field here. Okay, so our migrator run properly, and after that we can actually start writing our query here in the app.ts file to get the data or insert data in our database. Okay, before we start writing our query, let's recap what we have done till now. Okay, so first of all, if you see in our readme file, so these are the steps we have done. So first of all, we have set up a TypeScript project. Okay, after that we install all the dependencies for TypeScript, and after that we install the dependencies for Drizzle ORM and Drizzle Kit, and after that we create a source folder. Inside that we have a DB folder related to everything database, and inside that we have a db.ts file. Here actually we are creating a connection with our database. This is our database string, and we are creating a pull connection, and then we are passing that pull connection in our Drizzle. Okay, so after that we define all the schema inside the schema folder. So we have currently user schema. We can create multiple schema later, like blog.schema.ts or category.schema.ts, something like that. And here we are defining the schema. Okay, after that we are configuring our Drizzle, like where are all of our schema is available and where it will generate all the migration. So we are defining that folder here. And after that we are creating a script called db.generate. This it will take help from Drizzle kit and generate our schema for MySQL inside this migration folder. After that we are just creating a migrator, and using that migrator we are just applying all this migration in our database. Okay, so this is the thing. So now if we do some simple query, let's say we want to insert one or two user and we want to read those users from our database. Okay, so let's create a function called run query and call this function. Let's make this function async. Now we need the db instance by which we will call our database. So that is available inside db.ts here, this one. So let's take that. So db dot insert. First of all, we will insert one user, and where we want to insert, we will insert in user schema. Okay, so this is the user schema. After that, we want to pass the values. So if you pass the values, and here we will pass an object of that user. Okay, so what are the things we are required in this object? So if you press Control space, it will give you all the suggestions here. So currently we need email, name, and password. These three are required, but you can see created at question mark, ID question mark, role question mark, updated question mark. That means these are optional field. Okay, so let's give it a name. So let's say Drizzle. Then give it an email, info@drizzle.com, let's say, or .team. Then we need a password. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so you can see insert object is created. Now if you want to push the changes, we can call await here, and this will actually give you an array. So let me just console log that thing. Let's call it result. Some dot stringify. So this result actually hold an array. Okay, and inside that array we will have our like inserted ID, this object ID. Okay, so I'll show you in the console. And to run this app.ts file, we'll use ts node again, same as migrator file. So let's call it dev, and here inside source we have app.ts and the script name is dev. So now if you want to run the thing, so npm dev, you can see the query is successful, and in the database we have a user called Drizzle and all the name, email, and everything, and this default role is user created and updated and everything. And here if you see, so it's the result, this result actually giving an array, and inside the array we have one object and one null. So in the first object we have this inserted ID, that is the ID of that row. Okay, this ID. And if you insert another one, so let's say result 2 info 2. So if you run this script again, so this time we will see inside ID equal 2. So you can see inside ID equal 2, and here if you refresh, we get result 2 as ID 2. Okay, so this is actually we are going to insert single element. We can also insert multiple element by passing here an array, similar something like this. Okay, so this will also work. Okay, and you can just update this thing. So this is actually you are going to insert any data in using Drizzle insert. Okay, now let's comment this and query the data we have in the database. Okay, for that First wait db.select from where you want to select user schema. Okay, so now if we store this in a variable called result and console log the result, now let's see what we got. So we got an array with two object or the two user object. Okay, so this is how actually the query will work. So this is the basic query for insertion and select. Okay, and Drizzle also release in new update this relational queries where you can do like find many, find fast, and do includes, or they call it with. Okay, similar to like when you will get all the user along with you can get all the post and everything. So we'll create tutorial on this thing also later. So for the starter, I think up to this is fine. All the source code and reference and documentation link, everything will be available in the video description. And if you have any question, feel free to comment. So thank you everyone. If you are new to my channel, feel free to subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified for new videos. It will help me to grow. Also, it will encourage me to create more videos like this. So see you in the next video.